Hey, good morning everybody. It's Chris here with Zone Zero California, and for this video I am near the intersection of Sunset Boulevard and Alvarado in the Echo Park neighborhood of Los Angeles. So we're continuing our series of videos here, taking you, the viewers, into these very high fire hazard severity zones, pointing out exactly where they are, raising awareness about them. So this way, you know, homeowners, property managers, can deal with the Zone Zero regulations that are getting ready to be published by the state, okay? So we need people to be aware that they are in a fire hazard severity zone, a very high fire hazard severity zone. We also want to highlight just how developed and urbanized these fire hazard severity zones can be. I mean, this is a very well-known, historic, you might say, iconic, perhaps is a better word, neighborhood here in Los Angeles. We're not too far from downtown or MacArthur Park. In fact, we can see the skyline once we get past these buildings of the downtown Los Angeles area. But nevertheless, Echo Park is definitely in a very high fire hazard severity zone. Now, I'm going to where these zones sort of begin and giving you guys some identifiable landmarks. So essentially Sunset Boulevard here, as you go north, northwest, and a little bit to the east here. Essentially, as you go higher into the elevation, that's where the very high fire hazard severity zone is. So we're gonna take a drive through that neighborhood, as we've been doing with these other videos, showing exactly the kinds of issues that homeowners are facing when it comes to these Zone Zero regulations. So of course, what is Zone Zero? It is the 0 to 5 feet around any home, structure, that must be free and clear of any combustible material. And furthermore, these regulations state, that every new building, every new structure constructed in these zones must comply with the Zone Zero building regulations, which is essentially Class A non-combustible material, all right? And then homes, existing homes within these very high fire hazard severity zones must become compliant by the year 2028 or 2029. So in the next 2 to 3 years, millions of homeowners are going to be faced with construction improvements to be Zone Zero compliant. So what does that look like? First and foremost, landscaping. And this has probably been the biggest point of contention so far in this regulatory process. If you have a tree within 5 feet of your home, hypothetically, that may need to be removed. So what it appears is going to happen is that the state will issue some general top-down guidelines, and then the county and city levels will issue their more specific guidelines to accommodate for these kinds of factors. Because of course, in places like Los Angeles or San Diego, these trees provide more than just a beauty function, right? The shade they provide literally lowers the temperature by what can feel like a change of up to 50 degrees, according to some studies I've read. And, that means lower energy costs. So if we're going to be removing these sources of shade, that's going to increase the amount of heat being felt by people living in the homes, walking through neighborhoods, etc. And that's already a major point of contention. So it also looks like, maybe switching over your landscaping from grass to gravel and things like that. Of course, right, Zone Zero means the 0 to 5 feet around your home or property must be free and clear of any combustible material. So I'll give you an example, right? If you have a tree, the tree produces leaves, the leaves dry up. If they accumulate on your roof, and then there's a major fire event, and those ember storms blow and drift these embers, and they land on your roof, and they land on that pile of combustible material, that's how these fires start, spread, and eventually destroy more homes than we'd like to see, So, okay, aside from your landscaping, your roofing, you need to be aware of an old wood fence or gate. And we've driven around many, many neighborhoods so far, and we'll continue to explore and take you guys into these fire hazard severity zones. But any old wood gate, especially if it's redwood or cedar, will need to be replaced. And now there are approved woods, mostly hardwoods. For example, Kayu Batu has been approved by CAL FIRE for use. So you don't need to completely abandon wood as a building material. You just need to be aware of what type of wood is approved. And again, this is only for homes inside of the very high fire hazard severity zones. If you live outside of these zones, for now, you probably don't need to worry about this unless your insurance has already indicated that you may need to comply or make some changes before they renew you. So we do have horror stories of that happening. Okay, we talked about landscaping, roofing, fences and gates. What else? Decking and siding. Okay, so wood decks, again, if it's redwood, you may need to consider switching over for maybe a steel frame with a composite deck material like a Trex or a TimberTech. There's also aluminum decking. And if you have a patio with a wood railing and it's redwood, that may need to be replaced. And then of course your siding. Depending on the time and era your home was built, for instance, we were just in Silver Lake, we saw a lot of craftsman style homes, wood siding, right? So again, that's gonna affect a lot of historic properties. I'm sure Los Angeles is gonna have some specific requirements or stipulations when it comes to that to preserve those historic properties, but nevertheless, there's going to be some kind of ruling and regulation put forth here very soon. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to raise awareness. We want to be prepared, not scared, all right? And so, of course, I've got some resources for you. We have a school community. The link will be in the description. It's a free community to join. It's a place where I can centrally compile links and to resources, to grants. There are a bunch of grants available to get financial assistance, for example, with some of these retrofitting if you qualify. And, you know, news articles, just to kind of keep everything in one place. Of course, you can also start a discussion there. Listen, if you've already dealt with these kinds of things, either from your insurance company or from the local government, feel free to come get it off your chest. Join us in the school community. I've also started a Reddit, and as well as the comment sections on these videos. Don't be afraid to share your stories with us, because not only will it help you get some stress off your chest perhaps, but if it helps at least one other person, that is going to be very valuable. So sharing your story is valuable, guys. All right, so once again, my name's Chris. I'm with ZoneZeroCalifornia.com. We built that website to help put you in touch with local contractors, licensed contractors in your area. So feel free to reach out to us there. You can give us a call or fill out the form on the website, and we'll connect you with some licensed contractors to help you get your job done. But now we're going to take a drive, as we always do, into the neighborhood. I'm going to point out where these Zone Zero regulations are going to be affecting properties. I'm not trying to isolate or call out anybody individually, but I want to just give you like an idea of the scope and the breadth of how many homes this is going to affect. So maybe you as a homeowner can start doing these property inspections yourself and get an understanding of what's to come. All right, thanks. Let's go take a drive. Hey everyone, it's Chris. All right, so we're in the truck now. I'm going to take a left up Alvarado, and we're going to take a look at the neighborhoods kind of in this area. Now, of course, like I said, Sunset and Alvarado going north, northeast, up Alvarado here. This is all in smack dab in the middle of the very high fire hazard severity zone. So, you know, listen, right across the street, look at that old historic house right there with the columns. Very beautiful design. But nevertheless, that is all wood siding, and it's got a wood picket fence. I mean, that's just one house right there. So I'm going to turn onto Reservoir here. Now, Reservoir kind of indicates this is going to go towards Silver Lake Reservoir. So, you know, these neighborhoods kind of all blend together a little bit. Silver Lake, Echo Park, and then Elysian Park, which we'll go to next, is essentially where Dodger Stadium is. And Dodger Stadium represents the edge of this particular range of the severe fire hazard severity zone, or very high fire hazard severity zone. It's such a mouthful to keep saying over and over, but okay, look at that wood fence, or gate I should say, right? Here we go. Here's another wooden fence and gate across the street. Back there, wood fence and gate. Right here, wood fence, wood driveway gate. Okay. Giant palm tree, right? That the embers catch fire, that palm tree starts raining fire, raining more embers. Wood fence, wood gate, wood fence and gate. Let's just take one little turn here up this block and see what we can find. Of course, look at all this landscaping here, right? And then you have a wood fence. Craftsman with a wood fencing gate in the front. Over here, between the homes, wood fence, craftsman style homes. Looks like an easement there that goes back into another house. More craftsmen's here. Wooden staircase. Right? These guys are remodeling. So, you know, I mean, I'm just like 1 or 2 blocks into this neighborhood, and you know, every other house it seems like it's got a wood fence or gate, or it's a craftsman style home, which means it's gonna have wood siding. So let me just go here. Oh, someone's coming out of their driveway, but they've got a wood fence. They've got wooden railings on their staircase. I didn't want to show their face, but here you go. This house is a craftsman, and look at it's got all wood fence right here. Not to mention all of the vegetation, right? So that's a landscaping concern. Right here, these houses, wood fence, all wood, right? Here you go, this house in the corner. This is a wood fence. That's definitely in 5 feet of the home. That's like 2 feet from the home. So that would need to be replaced. Okay, here you go. This other house down the street here. This has a wood fence all the way around it. It's also got a balcony, a patio that looks like all wood construction. I don't think that's hardwood. Looks like redwood to me. This is a wood detached garage, right? So you could tell if your home's from a certain time period, obviously, which these neighborhoods have a lot of homes from certain time periods, they are definitely going to need to be aware of these Zone 0 regulations, and they may need to comply. So listen, I'm gonna leave it there, guys. Be prepared, not scared. Visit us at zone0california.com, and we'll find a contractor near you and put you guys in touch. Thanks.